So whenever you're ready, I'll start the clock, so just let me know when you're ready to go.
Right.
Good, go.
Thank you again to the Board of Directors of the International Association for Jesuit Universities. We are here today to discuss ethical issues regarding our presentation a few weeks ago on inspiring morally courageous leaders with the integrated justice model and measuring that. Before we begin, I am Megan.
I'm Christopher.
And I'm Olivia.
Imagine this. You just took your first ever business ethics course at your Jesuit university. You love the content, they directly align with your values, and they directly align with the Jesuit values. Come next semester, you are in your corporate internship, and you're excited to see what's next. You come across a few ethical dilemmas in this internship, and you think back to this business ethics course you took. You think, okay, all this content's here, I know all this, but what's the first step? How do I apply this to the decision that I'm going to make today? Well, the integrative justice model can help you make that first step. The problem we're trying to solve here is ensuring that universities and business decision makers are on the same page. This requires to address a few issues. The first one is incongruencies between practices and integrity, a lack of a shared framework, as well as the absence in a marketing strategy. Students need an ethical normative framework to have something to rely on when they're making these business decisions in the future.
Jesuit universities are well respected, seemingly ethical institutions, but we have 17 Sustainable Development Goals and no framework to apply them. The SDGs are important guidelines that all businesses and organizations should follow and actively work towards achieving. The problem is that within the Jesuit network, there is no normative framework or common guide to assess ethical business decisions. Father Nicky Santos is an accountant turned Jesuit. He is the original author of the Integrative Justice Model, or commonly known as the IJM. As a Jesuit, Father Santos earned his PhD in accounting because he wanted to focus on the interactions between business and society. His work on the IJM is well established within the marketing literature, such as the Journal of Business Ethics. Father Santos is a reminder to all Jesuits that when there is a problem, we take action against it. We will promote different things within the Jesuit network and make sure we are combating different inequalities within it. We propose this normative ethical framework can serve as a guide for the ethical decision making that underlies sustainable development.
As someone who attended a Jesuit and Catholic grade school and high school, something that is very important to me was my passion for my education as well as my faith. So when I was choosing the college, I wanted something that was centered around the values of the Jesuits. Throughout my time in high school and college, I was fortunate enough to have teachers who emphasized the importance of decision-making while encouraging ethical decision-making to impact and how it would impact the world around us. This was a formative experience for me and shaped the understanding of what it means to be a responsible and ethical member of society. Some students in surrounding schools that I grew up with were not as fortunate enough to have the same mindset and experience about social responsibility and ethics. When I got to college, I was shocked at how many students were surprised that we had to take courses in philosophy, issues in social justice, and theology. For me, this was normal. This was how my ethical mindset was formed. With that being said, my roommates and I, who are all different majors, usually discussed our classes and how different the values are interpreted. In my business classes, I learned business perspectives, but with the IJM, I feel more prepared in going into the real world because I have concrete things to consider when I'm making a business decision. Questions such as, am I being trustworthy and is my engagement authentic? Am I co-creating value with consumers to my products and services? Am I meeting the wants and the needs of the consumers? And how will my decision affect others in the supply chain?
We need a framework to inspire leaders to implement sustainable development practices. The issue with this is an issue because sustainable development involves ensuring that we are in the long-term profit management realm rather than the short-term profit maximization turnaround, which is what we typically taught. Without a shared framework, ethical practices will ultimately lead business decision makers to keep making decisions that are hurting impoverished communities without thinking of how it's hurting their economy or how it's hurting their health and well-being. Another thing that's important to notice here is that there are some organizations that have a disconnect between what they state their values are and what their actual practices are. And this is unethical because organizations have a social responsibility to integrate and have integrity and be transparent with their consumers as well as their stakeholders. Without aligning with the values you are stating, it's ultimately going to affect your relationship with the stakeholders as well as your consumers.
There's the issue of ethical preparedness. We noted that students may be learning about ethics, but they may not understand what it is and how to apply it within the workplace. This is an issue because ethical decision-making is critical in all industries, and students need to be able to apply it when they graduate college. If students are not adequately prepared, they may be more likely to make unethical decisions or to overlook ethical considerations in their work. A Jesuit-educated business professional committing another Enron case is something that we do not want to happen. The presentation highlighted the IJM as a framework for promoting social justice as well. Social justice is an ethical issue because it involves promoting cura personalis, or care for the whole person, and this idea of magis, or more, doing more. Without a focus on social justice, there is a risk that businesses will overlook inequalities and continue to the social injustice.
So to solve many ethical issues, the IAJU can implement the IJM into the International Association of Jesuit Business Schools curriculum and recommend universities to teach this well in their classes. The IAJU is not telling Jesuit universities exactly what to teach, but instead telling them to phrase certain classes in ways to promote ethics and ethical decision-making. The IAJU should implement the IJM coursework that's available on the Ignited Global website into the Jesuit Business Core to form ethical decisions and ultimately align with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This is already done. Ignited Global has modules, articles, and even fully developed online courses for professors to utilize and educate themselves as well as their students on the IJM. Utilizing Ignited Global is key for Jesuit universities to start teaching and implementing the IJM into solving ethical problems.
Referring back to the data we collected, the most significant predictor was that Jesuit universities are helping students feel prepared to use the tools and make ethical business decisions. This accounted for 51% of the total variance, which is a predictor of being prepared to make ethical decisions and the perception of your career down the road. Jesuit schools around the world can provide the integrative justice model framework into their curriculums, which will allow students to have a first step basis when they're making their ethical business decisions and ultimately solving the problem of not having a normative framework.
To ensure that the IJM sticks with students, the IJU should offer a diploma-like certification. The leader would have this in their office, hanging above their wall, after completion of the course, reminding them always of an ethical mindset, reminding them always of the IJM. The intent to apply Jesuit tools learned in the postgraduating life is a significant predictor of one's perception of being prepared to make ethical decisions, or ethical preparedness. The solution and recommendation will be a constant reminder of the ethical framework, and so does the decision-making. So how does this exactly impact the IJU? By teaching the IJM to students and graduating them with a normative framework, post-graduation they will become ethical leaders in their industries. In turn, they could share their wealth at their universities, becoming donors. It will take ethical business leaders to achieve sustainable development in our time, and with that, we'd like to thank you for your time, and please reach out to us with any questions.
Thank you.
The next team is the Mountain Ridge Consultant. Good morning.
Morning.
Let me know when you're ready and I'll start the clock.
We're ready.
Ready? Go.
Thank you so much, UPS Board Directors, for having us back. Just to reintroduce ourselves, we are Mountain Ridge Consulting. My name is Liam Wall, Jacob Russett, Marcus Luseski. We're going to start with a story about a UPS driver. Last July, Esteban Chavez was celebrating his 24th birthday, right in our back door in Pasadena, California. It was on a Friday, big barbecue, friends and family around, and Esteban had work the next day, but it didn't really dampen the mood because Esteban really loved his job as a UPS driver. He loved the ability to be able to provide for his family. And so the next day, beautiful California day, 95 and sunny, as you and I were probably getting ready to go to the beach, Esteban was already underway on his 10-hour shift delivering packages across Pasadena. Now, these trucks on a hot day, they're more like greenhouses. They just heat up and retain that heat. When it's 95 out, that cab area where Esteban is driving, that's 110. And the cargo area in the back with the packages, that's 130. Now, by the early afternoon, Esteban had already done 70 stops, hundreds of packages, and gone 70 times into that sauna-like environment in the back to sort, find, organize, and lift these packages. When he got to that next stop, he'd been sweating all day, but his body had failed at keeping his internal temperature below 104. His sweating had turned into goosebumps. He was dizzy, nauseous, couldn't think straight. He went into the back. It used to be 130. It's now 150. He goes in. He's looking around. He can't think straight. He can't find the package that he needs to deliver. Eventually, he just grabs a package, any package, just to get out of there. Go, deliver it to the door, come back to the truck. He sits down, and his body just gives out. He passes out in his seat, falls over. When you pass out from heat stroke, every single minute matters. Your body can't control the temperature anymore. Your organs are swelling up and starting to fail. Esteban lied on the ground of his UPS truck for 20 minutes before anybody noticed anything. By the time first responders were able to get there, it was too late. He passed away. Unfortunately, the story of Esteban is not an isolated incident. Over a 4-year period, over 100 UPS drivers will be hospitalized with heat-related injuries. Just the summer before, Jose Rodriguez in Waco, Texas, had passed away also from a heat-related incident. To put it simply, a UPS employee dying of a preventable cause from the environment they're working in cannot simply be viewed as a cost of doing business. We need to do something about it, and now I'm going to pass it over to Marcus, who's going to further explain the ethical implications of this issue.
Thank you, Liam. In UPS's mission statement, UPS outlines their corporate strategy, which consists of 3 main values which guide the company. These 3 values are being customer first, people led, and innovation driven. To UPS, being people led has to do with the employee experience. And a key part of the employee experience has to do with UPS ensuring the health, well-being, and safety of its employees. This is reflected in the UPS Code of Conduct, which states that UPS is committed to protecting the health, well-being, and safety of its employees. In the UPS Corporate Social Responsibility Report from 2021, UPS states that they will do everything in their power to realize the full potential of each UPS employee. Part of realizing the full potential of each UPS employee has to do with UPS ensuring their right to a safe working environment. This right to safety is derived from the right to life. Familiarly, the right to life is in the United States Declaration of Independence in the preamble, which states that people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The right to life means that you as an individual somebody is not allowed to infringe on your own bodily autonomy. The United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights from 1948, in Article 23, Section 1, states that all workers have the right to just and favorable working conditions. In the UPS Human Rights Statement, recently updated in 2021, UPS says that they align themselves with this United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and they state that they will ensure all employees the right to a safe working environment and that their health and well-being will be taken care of by UPS. We know that UPS cares about their values and is upholding them. That's why in 1951, UPS created the UPS Foundation, which through its many philanthropic efforts in sustainability, as well as providing for hurricane relief, flood relief, tornado relief, the UPS Foundation will get water to those in need after tornadoes within 24 hours. Through their various philanthropic programs, the UPS Foundation is currently advancing 11 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Jacob?
As Liam and Marcus explained, UPS is facing a clear ethical issue. In order to address this, it is essential that the company installs AC units in delivery trucks to ensure a safe working environment and to limit heat exposure for drivers. This is an opportunity for the company to be more in line with its own existing ethical values of being a people-led organization and improving the employee experience. It is an opportunity for the company to be more in line with the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights and to incorporate the UN Sustainable Development Goals within their business operations. Specifically, goal number 8 of decent work and target 8.8 to protect labor rights and ensure secure and safe working environments for all workers. UPS invests an immense amount of time, effort, and money in ensuring that the trucks do not break down. It is time that the company ensures that the body of their drivers do not break down while in these trucks. And to do this, the company must install AC units to ensure a safe working environment and limit heat exposure. Thank you.
Thank you. Did the other team come in? We talked about it. Forgive me on the pronunciation of this. It's Dion? Yes. You're up. And that'll be followed by GRP. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll start the clock as soon as you tell me you're ready.
We're ready.
You're ready? You may begin.
So we're the Ethical Consulting Board from Dionysian Consulting, and we're here to talk about prime air. So 10 years ago, on a 60 Minutes episode, Jeff Bezos unveiled his idea to revolutionize the delivery system as we know it through drone delivery. And Bezos cited his desire to keep Amazon relevant for years to come after his death, and to have drones within the next 5 years zipping across our city skylines and delivering drones within 30 minutes or less. That has not happened. That was a decade ago, and we want to dive into the issues that are preventing Bezos and his goals to becoming a reality. This is my friend Isabella.
Yeah. So we will be doing an ethical analysis of Amazon's choices regarding the drone delivery program. So these issues are in reference to privacy and sustainability in drones. So I will be focusing on privacy for now, and this is an extremely important issue that Amazon has to take account of. Privacy is an issue that's very inherent to drones, and that drones constantly require cameras in order to function. Right. We have
AI that needs cameras in order to navigate its surroundings, or in order to make sure that it's even even on the correct path to its delivery site, and to make sure that it's not running into trees, into people. And additionally, with human operators in question, we need cameras even more in order to make sure that this is not happening. This usage of cameras with drones is also useful because it helps Amazon identify if there are people damaging their property, seeing that these drones can cost upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, of course, drones are constantly filming everything underneath of them, which means that drones could film the inside of people's yards, and many people could think that this is an infringement of privacy. Now, if we look at Western sentiments regarding privacy, most Western consumers heavily value privacy despite it being ever shrinking in today's modern world, as we can see with the Congress hearings of TikTok, and we can see with the Congress hearings of Facebook. Amazon as a company needs to refocus its efforts into privacy, considering that this is such a big deal specific to drones. 71% of Americans, according to a survey by Morning Consult, stated that they have serious concerns about privacy-related issues with drones. And according to a study by Pew Research Center, 54% of Americans are not comfortable with drones near their homes or their neighborhood parks. Now, let's look at what Amazon has done to address these concerns. And if you take a look at their patents, there's 64 patents issued over the entire course of their drone delivery program. Not a single one of them mentions the word privacy, security, and data protection. Additionally, there has been patents, such as one related to the surveillance of homes by Amazon, and another one related to a targeted ad system based around AI, discovering if there are broken windows, chipped paint, doors, that Amazon would then send ads about to the consumer that has that chipped paint, doors, and windows. Amazon is not doing a good enough job to address its lack of privacy frameworks, and it's even going in the opposite direction and possibly causing Americans and Europeans to become more nervous about their drone program. Sorry. Now, there is not a lack of privacy framework research out there. For example, the Vienna College of Business and Economics has a framework regarding privacy and drones specifically, as well as the London School of Economics. However, Amazon has not come out with their own framework regarding privacy, and Amazon seriously needs to reconsider this. Now let's do a recap. Western consumers heavily value their privacy. Western consumers have had their privacy rights stripped away from them slowly. Amazon has a duty not to continue this stripping away of privacy rights. However, Amazon has not done nearly enough in terms of policy and in terms of framework creation in order to address these privacy issues. Now, I will pass it on to Marcus, who is doing sustainability, and this is another part of the ethical issue that Amazon has to face regarding drones.
Thank you, Isabella. Now, we want to make sure that our solution of moving drones out of urban and highly dense suburban areas will not only protect the privacy rights of the people that live in those populated areas, but also is going to be more sustainable than using drones within them. It has become considered that drones are a sustainable method for delivery companies. They use clean energy and electricity, and their physical parts are much smaller than other delivery vehicles, meaning that they have less physical construction that is required and less emissions in their process. However, this emission saving starts to fall off when you examine them within urban settings. Thankfully, Amazon has an ulterior way of moving packages within urban settings, and that is their electric vehicles. A study done by the Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh found that it would take a electric vehicle moving 8 packages per mile travel to be as energy efficient as a drone would in a similar area. Now that by itself might not sound very impressive, but When we do some calculations, we'll find that an average Amazon driver delivers about 180 to 200 packages a day, and the route is about 24 miles a day. And when we finish the calculations, we'll see that 192 packages is the amount that a vehicle would need to deliver to be able to meet that drone expectation, falling within the range of your average Amazon delivery driver. This means that in your average American city, Amazon's drones are going to be less effective than their electric vehicles. And we believe that this means Amazon will be meeting UN Sustainability Goals 9 and 12 to improve infrastructure and ensure consumption patterns are sustainable. Yeah, and I guess I'll pass it to Aiden to
So there is another advantage that Amazon has by keeping their Amazon delivery drones to rural areas, which is that it would also not cause such a displacement of delivery drivers in urban areas. Most delivery drivers operate in suburban and urban contexts. So if Amazon is to move its program to rural areas, not only would this be more efficient regarding drone delivery, regarding energy per drone delivery, there would also be far less industry displacement regarding Amazon drivers. So our solution right now regarding sustainability is to make sure that Amazon does not reach beyond its means in order to expand into urban and suburban contexts, and instead remain in rural contexts.
We're just urging Jeff Bezos and the company of Amazon to really walk before they run here. They have a huge innovative technology in drone delivery, but they're over romanticizing it rather, and for all these reasons that we've mentioned, it's unfeasible to have urbanized deliveries and the goals that they have at the moment, and we should instead redirect all drone deliveries to rural areas for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, GR&P. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good. Welcome. When you're ready to begin, I'll start. So you ready?
You're ready.
Go.
Hello everyone, my name is André Benicio and I'm the CEO of GRP Consulting. I wanted to offer to the UPS Board of Directors a chance to minimize your fueling costs, reach environmental goals, and also minimize your potential liability with your current employees. We offer a licensing service with one of our partner companies called Clear Flame, in which we're able to diversify the types of fuels that your current diesel engine truck uses. And for that matter, we mostly change up for biofuels such as ethanol because it's more cost efficient, less pollutant, and overall, after installing our technology, UPS will save around 30% in fueling costs. And it's no secret that electric vehicles are being romanticized right now, and it is not an ethical or financially smart decision to do at the moment. And I'll also like to point out that emission restrictions have come a long way and are not going to slow down anytime soon. And our company can help UPS be fully compliant with those restrictions right now. And also offer one more service, which is to help your company mitigate any potential liability with your employees. Truck drivers are exposed to this particular matter every day, and even short-term exposures can lead to long-term side effects such as cancer and cardiovascular diseases. And that being said, a company that has knowingly exposed their employees to such conditions will be held liable financially and legally for all consequences. And with that being said, if UPS does choose our services, your current gas guzzling trucks will be transformed into a more eco-friendly machine, and also help the society to move towards a cleaner and more sustainable environment. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Sydney to talk about the ethics of our presentation.
Hello, my name is Sydney Rothka, and I'm representing GRP Consulting today. Our goal has always been to provide you with the most financially and environmentally viable solution. which in this case means switching from diesel, which is a fossil fuel made of crude oil and biomass, to ethanol, which is a biofuel made of corn. You can also do other biofuel alternatives besides ethanol. Diesel negatively impacts a multitude of things, including the health and well-being of society, our environment, and the global climate, specifically through increased risk of asthma, worsened heart and lung disease, excess production of ground-level ozone, reduced visibility because of air pollution, and the creation of acid rain, which enters the human food chain through water and produce. Metropolitan areas such as Los Angeles, for example, have a 3 times higher likelihood than suburbs to see an increase in ER visits and a decrease in productivity. In 2016 alone, there were 21,000 deaths due to fossil fuel, and in 2010, 139 billion was lost through ER visits, hospitalizations, and lost workdays. Now I would like to speak on the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Going electric means taking advantage of the Congolese people who work for $2 a day as kids and $6 as adults, but there are no other job opportunities available for these people. Now, if you were to imagine yourself in their position, or your children, for example, that's obviously not something that we support in America. But American citizens should not be the standard of what a human is. Miners, in a typical day, would hand dig a hole and climb through it for 1.5 hours to cut out cobalt, and then climb out in relatively 2 hours. It's a very hazardous work environment, if you can imagine that. This is to say that it is unethical for the supply chain for UPS, or for electric vehicles in general, to have such morally questionable practices when lives should not be considered equivalent to income. All humans are born with inherent right to life, liberty, and security, and when tied to the Dominican Republic of Congo, it is safe to say that cobalt extraction should not violate the rights of workers or local communities. One could logically conclude that stronger labor protections and environmental regulations is the only valid answer in this situation. We as humans are not currently giving our planet the respect that it deserves. Applied to cobalt extraction, it requires weighing the benefits of electric vehicles, meaning reducing greenhouse gas emission and air pollution, against the negative consequences of mining, which are human rights abuses, labor exploitation, and environmental damage. In our eyes, this is an extremely unnecessary cost with no added benefit to society. Biofuels reduce greenhouse gas up to 65% when fossil fuels are burnt. However, when fossil fuels are burnt, they produce large amounts of greenhouse gases, which trap sunlight and inevitably contribute greatly to global warming. There were 2,000 deaths in the Congo every year in 2020, which is definitely higher now as we go more and more electric. However, unfortunately, 2,000 is only 1% of their 200,000 person workforce in the Congo who risk their lives every year so that way we can drive electric vehicles. Also, UPS owes a legal duty to shareholders when it comes to increasing profit, and they obviously would not want to be involved in an unethical company with such morally questionable practices. Our long-term solution means producing the greatest benefit with the least amount of harm to society, especially during a time when carbon dioxide levels are at an all-time high. It is also of ethical imperative that the harm electric vehicles cause is acknowledged and that there are no pros to diesel. I will now turn it over to my colleague, Armin.
Thank you again for your time. My name is Armin Kazray. Take a moment and try to put your feet inside of the shoes of the individuals that are mining for materials such as cobalt. It may not seem that it is an important factor or plays a major role in our daily lives, but in fact it does, because many electrical vehicles out there, they have a significant amount of cobalt, and although that we feel it is a sustainable manner of living because we're not emitting any fuel or gases, that doesn't seem to be the case. And most importantly for your children, if your children are in the position of mining for these materials, they're ranging between as young as 7 years old up to low teenage years, and that significantly affects their health because their body isn't fully developed yet, and that causes their lungs to possibly be affected. And within a few years of already working, even a few months, they are going to have to stop mining because of the dust that they have inhaled throughout time. And even adults throughout the years have developed certain conditions that we don't even know what they have been, and we just are discovering new conditions because of these reasons. And being able to understand how individuals' lives are affected in other countries as well as others is extremely crucial. Just because we don't see something happening, it does not mean that it is not happening. And our country values our freedom, and we are the land of opportunity. But if we were to hold such actions to be taken in our country, such as child labor at a very young age, or even adults that their health has been significantly at risk, is something we do not support. And going fully electric as of now is not efficient or effective, but being able to understand the concept of alternating the diesel engine so it can efficiently operate on cost-efficient biofuels such as ethanol and other gases is important, because we do not fully go electric because we do not want the lives of individuals to be at risk, but we are taking that first green step in order to achieving our goal. Although that it is the duty of stakeholders to maximize profits for the company, the value that stockholders and shareholders have within the company is, of course, their investments. They value profit maximization as well, but they also value the reputation that a company holds. While being an extremely big corporation in the nation, that also leads to many other factors for government officials. If they were to criticize the company, that would lead to those investors wanting to take their investments out and possibly invest it into other firms, which would negatively affect the company's profits, or even they would be operating at a loss. And it is important to understand that it isn't always about self-interest of an individual, but it's rather the greater good of society and the goals that we can achieve in moving one step closer into a sustainable environment. That being said, electric as of now is not a financially or ethically sustainable manner of living. Thank you.